Hello, welcome. So we have been listening about. My name is Bernal, by the way. If you're listening to it, and if you didn't get my name on the video, it's just to give you a quick grab. It's very easy to find me if you don't know me on LinkedIn or Google. Type my name, Bernal Grant, and it'll take you to the place that you want it to be. So now, why exactly am I recording this? I'm recording this conversation because. You are hearing for this year 2023, right? 2023 year has been a kind of year of awakening for a lot of companies who have been dying to hire mad and did some very nonsensical hiring, overhyped on the digitization and several app development, assuming that the world will always be remote after the COVID as well. So this was a kind of an assumption that they made. And therefore, no wonder you have heard 15,000 people being laid off by Meta, around same number being laid off by Amazon and Google in two or three cities. And there are many other companies, including Salesforce. You talk about it, and you will find that the company has laid off people. So this is the news. Why exactly I'm talking about it is because we are hearing several things. Either you're in HR or in business or whatever you do, it doesn't matter. What I wanted to draw your attention to is that what exactly happens when businesses are not doing well and they decide to cut the cost. So layoff is a decision to one rationalize the business, and which primarily means that those lines of businesses or those people who come in the line of fire will be shot dead, and there will be a course correction, there will be a cost saving measure, what exactly it is. So this is what happens, and they keep doing the layoffs depending on if they don't need people, they will lay it off, right? And this is the right that every employer has in order to lay off people following certain rules and terms and conditions of the contract. I was hearing about Akasha Airlines. That Akasha Airlines, I think, in last few months, there are 43 pilot departures from that company without serving the proper notice period. But do you know what is the notice period that applies to them in Akasha? And I don't know about other airlines, so you can let me know when you comment that what exactly do you see. Akasha has 6 months of notice period. Is it even possible? Is it for people to really serve such kind of a long notice period? Right? Even in the 3 months of notice period, we see that new companies which are looking for hiring you don't touch you, right? You become untouchable for them. Look at the 6 months. What exactly is this contract trying to do? Unfortunately, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's company, but so nonsensical. I can't even believe that he is the person who understood the business the best way. But his company HR policies are so screwed up. So, all right, coming back. Now, what exactly is happening? So, there was a statement by the Courtney Mancini. Who is Courtney Mancini? If you want to check, this is a very interesting profile that I found. I'm taking you to the screen. Courtney Mancini is the corporate communications Google, Denver metropolitan area, and she is with Google, right? Yes, you see, since November 2021, corporate communication PR. Where exactly she was before that? Oh my God! Oh my God! Federal Bureau of Investigation. Interesting, isn't it? So she has come from the government to the corporate. Now you understand people brought into the corporate communication from this kind of a background. Aha, you have made your intentions very clear. All right, so that's one part of it. Going back, what exactly I want to talk to you about is that the numbers, you know what is happening. People are on maternity leave, they're fired. In the midnight, the emails go to them. Their all access of the company emails and other things are blocked right away. Looks like a very very covert and cowardly action too, right? You should have taken time communicating people, telling them what exactly it is, why it is exactly happening, and therefore you can of course safeguard, right, your intellectual property or whatever you want to do, but not this way in the midnight. You're sending emails and blocking people's access, and they're fired without any communication to them, without any communication prior to them. Oh my God, Google is doing this, and Sundar Pichai, you are doing this. Well, I don't know under what circumstances you do and why you do. You may have the justification. I'm questioning you. My only challenge out here is that if Google is considered to be the bellwether of the industry in terms of how the corporate culture really works, how they treat their employees. And we have seen every company wanted to follow Google, right? And followed Google in terms of how exactly they created the workplace, the vibe of the workplace, how people communicated with each other, the kind of diversity that they built. Great courage, no doubt about it. Um, and the prime intention of them was to hire people with great talent for that matter. Les Chubak has been there, and I think he wrote about a number of brilliant practices that he established, the company established and followed under the leadership of several different people, um, including John Doerr, for that matter. A couple of experiments that Google did was under the influence of John Doerr, who wrote the book, uh, measure what matters, right? The guy who talks about OKRs and several experiments being done through OKRs. There are two big projects that Google did. And let me just go back and just give you some idea so that you can explore about these two projects. Wonderful read and wonderful learning you will get if you are in HR or outside of it or understand business and want to be around in some capacity in the modern contemporary business space. So Google a couple of things. One is that Project Oxygen, and the other is Project Aristotle. What exactly they were? You will find some very interesting experiments. There are not many that that industry has done after Jack Welch, right? So, all right. Now coming back here, this article, and you will get several other articles. Why exactly have I chosen this place to come? Is that I want to talk to you about something uh, which I found, and I listened to this, podcast, and I want you to listen to this podcast. This is between two people where the guest is Archana Bhaskar, who is the CHRO. So go and check out who she is, right? He's an IIM Bangalore graduate, an MBA from IIM Bangalore or PGDM, whatever you call it. I think she passed out somewhere in which year? Easy to find, right? 1990, I guess. Let me take you back to her profile and let's see what's happening here. Okay. All right, so she is Archana Bhaskar. Looks gorgeous, a beautiful lady, very sharp, intelligent looks, and leader-like personality, as I can see, and you can see from the picture that she has put. I appreciate it. So she is currently with Dr. Reddy's lab for the last how many years? 6 years now. CHRO and head corporate communications. She never went to a marketing job, as she agrees, and she mentions in her policy her first job was into HR, and then she continued to be in HR. But now, look here, what is happening? CHR and head of corporate communications. This is interesting, isn't it? Without having any experience in corporate communications, she is now heading such a company, which is Indian. Matter of pride. Reddy Brothers have really built this company well. So she is the CHRO for the last so many years. She has been with Shell from 2011 to 2017. Again, 6 years out there, or more, in fact. 7 to 10, she was there in Shell India, and then some, so kind of 10 years. And going back to Hindustan Unilever, I think she started with Unilever in 1993 till 2007. So how many years? 20? 4 years. My God. My God. My God. Okay. All right. Let's see what exactly roles he has been into. So she was HR, right? Wherever relations he went into HR. And 1990 to 92, she worked as a human resources consultant at AFF. I don't know what it is. Maybe when you search, you can let me know what exactly it is. But yeah, she's Lady Shri Ram College, New Delhi, 88 pass out, 88 to 90. She was at IIM Bangalore doing PGDM. She should have mentioned clearly. This is what people make mistakes that they don't write what exactly they did. Here she is writing, she is Bachelor of Arts, right? She should even have written what the subject she had, right? If she was majoring into any subject for that matter. Doesn't matter. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about is that I'll take you back again to the People Matters podcast, and I want you to watch it. Right. Uh, what understanding I got watching this podcast is that this lady is has overlived her career, it looks like. And when she came to Dr. Reddy's was really a little ruffled in terms of the management and other things. And one thing that she mentions is that the founder wanted to have an expat CEO, right? So this is an Indian company, right? So when Indian company needs a leader, not a manager, leader, because they were kind of rudderless, directionless for that matter. Things were not going all right, and I don't know what all problems. Probably, when you research a bit, you will be able to find, and that's what you should be doing to understand how companies really turn around if they do uh, from the situation, which is kind of alarming, and the founders and stakeholders may be worried about them. Now, she says that once they came in, the first mandate was to have an expert CEO, which they have now. Now, something very interesting that struck me here, that when an Indian company is looking for a leader, mind the word leader, not a manager, they look for a foreigner, an expert, certainly from the western part of the world. But when US companies, be it Microsoft or Google, right, when they look for a leader, they hire an Indian. You know why? Think about it and let me know what is your thought on that. Why exactly these companies? I believe that these companies, that Google, Microsoft, Adobe, right, and many others, Standard Chartered Bank, and many other examples are there, right? All of them, you will see that Indian CEOs are there. Why? My understanding, and I can be biased, and I will be biased hopefully, is that I believe that when these companies become too big, they don't have much to innovate. They are there to survive and hold on to their market presence, and they wanted to hold on to their business as such. A lot of things in terms of the people management becomes chaotic, and they need actually a manager. They don't need a leader, because leaders have taken them to the kind of pinnacle of being one of the most revered, innovative, uh, die to work for kind of a company. But when they are getting into administrative problems, day-to-day problems, they hire an Indian guy as the CEO. And that Indian guy as a CEO is certainly a manager, not a leader. And let me give you why. My reasons for why exactly I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this because look at Sundar Pichai, or look at Nadella, or look at anybody for that matter, Shantanu from Adobe, and any company you can tell. You will find that none of these guys were ever a founder of any company for that matter. They were pure employees, pure salaried employees living paycheck to paycheck. They were never innovators for that matter, etc., etc. So they are typically not leaders in my definition. My definition of a leader is that somebody who keeps creating, inventing, reinventing, and is an industry leader, changes course of the industry, not by being in a position as a CEO in administrative responsibility, but as somebody who's a game changer, right? Which founders are, right? So Larry and Page would be the innovators, right? But not Sundar Pichai for that matter. For some reason, you may not agree, but that's how it is. Look at the difference. So when Indian companies need a leader, it's a foreigner. So this simply tells me, and a foreign company leads a leader, it's an Indian manager. That's what it is. Another thing, I want you to listen to this podcast, which is very boring actually, and she looks like very tired. She's a lady of wisdom, but she doesn't impress me at all. She doesn't give me and brings any contemporary worldview or insights into pharma or leadership space for that matter, or investors, and how exactly is the life sciences industry's challenges are there, and how exactly an Indian company, which is mostly based on generic, would carve its own space, getting into the US market, the regulatory challenges, the kind of FDA notices, the talent landscape, and other things. Maybe, yeah, I think so. Uh, she was not able to even highlight, right? Even if the interviewer is not really that smart and asking you that smart question, uh, as a leader you should be telling, because you are managing that position of reputation for that company. So every piece of communication which goes into the public space must not be really that casual, and that kind of very slow paced talk without having any significant highlights into them. Another one thing which she said, if you are listening about talent. She says that when she joined after MBA, the first company in HR, she was really looked down upon, and a lot of advice came to her that she should be going into marketing or something. Why is she going into HR? But she says that she had seen the future, right? So she wanted to be there. And then she went to another large ocean, world's largest public sector FMCG FMCG marketing company, which is Unilever. She remains there for a very long time, you understand, and we have seen her LinkedIn profile. What she says is that, initially in her career, or for a long time, I guess, in the initial years, she understood that, she was into the career for herself, chip on the shoulder, she uses the word, and then caring about success, personal success, then the company success, etc., etc. She agrees. And what she tells is, I'm really thankful to her, and I applaud her for really accepting this fact, because at the pinnacle of her career, right, 30 years plus career, and very successful, made a lot of good name, good money for herself, etc., etc. Um, she accepts this fact. Now this fact is that if we bring in the kind of people who think they have a chip on the shoulder into the organization, and they are more self-centric than sacrificing or working towards companies' growth and development and success, that's the biggest risk. That's the biggest risk. How do you find it? How really do you shelve this kind of behavior within the organization is something very big. I don't know whether she is doing it within her organizations when she is bringing the smartest of folks globally into different teams to really navigate through organizations' typical challenges and bring out those breakthroughs and those kind of stuff, right? So this is very important. This is very important, and this really reminds me of Ben Bernanke's, Princeton University undergraduate talk, which I have spoken about in one of my podcasts earlier, where he says that there is a great sense of elitism in these degrees and institutions, for that matter. So chip on the shoulder will be there, but yeah, that needs to be sanitized as soon as people come into the organization, right? They should be really doing the work which are very so-called pedestrian, for that matter. Uh, but that's how they should be integrated into the organization. That's what I feel. So let me know your thoughts when you listen to this video, and on different topics and different subject matters that I have spoken to you about. Do let me know what you feel, and then let me know what exactly is the topic that you want me to talk next. And if you want to be on my podcast, do let me know in your comment, and I'll invite you for a podcast. Let's have a good conversation. Thank you for listening in. Good day.